and welcome to the Habits and Home Show. I'm your host, Lisa Lazat, and I help busy moms bring order to their homes by downsizing and decluttering and ditching old habits in exchange for systems that bring peace and more enjoyment to their lives. If you're a mom trying to show the love of Jesus to your family, but the clutter in your home keeps you overwhelmed and frustrated, you have come to the right place. On this podcast, you will hear easy, step-by-step tips to declutter and create systems so you can keep your home organized and finally walk in the peace God has promised you. Need some accountability? I've got you covered there too. Join the Accountability Club, a community of like-minded mamas decluttering and systemizing our homes together. Are you ready, friend? Let's get started. Hey friends, and welcome to the show. In last week's episode, we talked about forgiving ourselves for the things that we have bought. Maybe during this decluttering journey, you come across things that you feel guilty for spending money on. And in that episode, I gave you a lot of permission to release that feeling of guilt and to forgive yourself for the things that you have bought. Whatever reason that you bought them, maybe you had this fantasy life that you had thought about, you wanted to do these hobbies, or you were influenced on social media to buy this, these certain things as far as like decor items, whatever the reason for buying those things. We talked about forgiving yourself so that you can move past that and create the life that you want to be living in your home as you manage your home and raise your family, right? So before we dive into this week's topic, which is to break the habit of overspending, I want to encourage you to go back and listen to last week's topic on forgiving yourself for the things that you bought. I don't believe that we can truly break the cycle of overspending unless we truly get real and up close and with ourselves and forgive ourselves for the things that we have purchased in the past and the mistakes that we, quote unquote, mistakes that we have made in the past. So I really want to encourage you to go back to that episode, get some encouragement so that you don't approach this episode carrying all of that guilt and all of that weight, okay? So in this episode, we're going to talk about why we overspend, what that can lead to, and then some practical steps for breaking the cycle of overspending. So a lot of the times we overspend and we buy things for a couple of different reasons. First of all, maybe we go into a store and we don't really have a plan, a concise, clear plan of what we really need. And so maybe you go to the grocery store and you don't have a list and you haven't even looked in your fridge or your pantry in a while and you really don't know what you have at home. I find that to be so with a lot of my clients when I'm decluttering with them. They will buy multiple things without even realizing what they already have in their home. So sometimes we go to the store and we overspend and we buy extra things because we don't even know what inventory we have in our house. And that is what comes, that is the beautiful result of going through the decluttering process, is that you get your inventory down to what you are able to manage, and you have a clearer picture of what you have in stock, right? You decrease the amount that you are managing, and you have an understanding of what all you actually have contained inside your house. And so that will prevent you by buying things unnecessarily. Some other reasons that we overspend is for emotional reasons. Maybe we are doing some emotional spending, some retail therapy. Maybe sometimes we overspend because we're bored, right? Sometimes we're just bored, or like I said, we're breaking the habit. Sometimes it's just habit. Maybe it's just habit for you when you're feeling bored to go out in town and you're, just looking around town at all these different stores, and you just go in and you just peruse and you just browse, wasting time because you have nothing else to do. Or maybe you do have things to do and you're just avoiding those things. So sometimes we do boredom spending, or we do emotional spending, right? Sometimes we spend because of influence, especially in our day and age where we have a lot of influencers out there who are trying to do good. They are trying to earn an income for their family, but they are, it kind of backfires on us because they influence us to buy things unnecessarily, and it fills up our house and it creates clutter in our house and overwhelm, right? That's why even though I could put ads on this podcast and I could send out a bunch of things in my email blast for y'all to purchase, I just feel convicted. I just feel extreme conviction about putting out things out there that I might recommend that you buy, and then you might not need it. If you're already living life without this thing, then you probably don't need it. I always think I try to lean into when the moment comes up and I have to do some problem solving. I'm just going to trust that God is going to bring me the answer for the problem that I have in that moment, instead of just like mindlessly scrolling social media and then thinking, oh, I need that in my life. Well, if I haven't been thinking about it in the first place, then I probably don't need that thing, right? Now, I completely forgot to take a moment at the beginning of this podcast. If you are not already working in your house, doing something, I do encourage you to get busy, okay? You might be in the car listening to this. That's okay. Re-listen to this later on. In each and every episode, I want you to put into action, do something in your house, feel productive. The episodes are about 15 to 20 minutes long. When you are listening to productivity tips or people who are encouraging you to take action, it prompts you to take action. So I don't really want you sitting down or doing nothing while you're listening to this episode. So please, if you aren't already up and moving, make sure that you get up and moving. And I do encourage people in my accountability club, that is something we do each and every time we're on a coaching call, is I don't want them to just watch me as I'm coaching other people. I want them moving and being productive with the hour and a half that we have every other week that we are together. I encourage my one-on-one clients to do that as well. We get a lot done within the hour that they are coaching with me. Okay, that was my little short intermission, my little short commercial, and hopefully it was a good commercial. I want to prompt you to take action. So talking about influence and being influenced, sometimes we buy things because it looks good on the outside, or the grass looks greener on the other side, or that person looks happy because they have those things in their life. So sometimes we fall prey to influence, and we end up buying things that we don't need. Sometimes we buy extra things because we have a scarcity mindset. We think that we need it now for the future. And that goes back to trusting. That goes back to trusting God to provide for our daily manna, right? When we feel like we're not going to have enough in the future, that is a lack of trust. That is a lack of faith, okay? So I want you to try to work on that self-control and say, okay, God, I am going to trust you with my future. And I think that I need that thing right now, but I'm not going to use it right now. So I'm going to trust that you're going to bring it back to me in the future if I do need that item. Some other reasons why we might overspend and overbuy things is because we have an identity issue. We are trying to figure out who we are. A lot of us women will do this in our homes with our decor. Like, we're trying to figure out who we are, who we identify as. And so we'll try a certain theme in our home, and then we're like, no, that doesn't fit me. And then we'll be influenced by an influencer to change our theme in our home, whether you go from like contemporary farmhouse or modern farmhouse to now you're like boho, to now you're super modern, and now you're like American heritage. A lot of our overspending is our pursuit of finding out who we are. And I want you to realize that your identity is in Christ. And so sometimes we need to just get in the solitude of ourselves and just one-on-one with God and dive in His Word and figure out who we are. Okay. A lot of who you are now will come if you take a moment to really realize and be introspective in who you are. It will go back to childhood, right? A lot of the hobbies that I want to do now, I really loved doing them as a child, but I've kind of let them go. And I'm like, okay, I know who I am now. And a lot of those hobbies are coming back up. A lot of the decor that I tried when I was in my 20s and then I was influenced to change it up is now coming back up to the surface. Like, I love a I love a nostalgic farmhouse. I love the sound of a screen door slamming. I love the feeling of old furniture that is not necessarily, bought brand new. I love that feeling. And I love that as a child. I love the look of old, timeless pictures, like old vintage pictures. And as I was going through my pictures on Tuesday in our Sentimentals coaching call inside the Accountability Club, I realized I'm like, this is who I am. Okay. So a lot of our overspending is our pursuit to find out who we are. Right? So what is the cost of our overspending? Well, of course, the money that we are wasting, but then, the financial stress, the clutter, and the overwhelm of having to now manage these things. Think about when people stock up. Now, if you are a prepper and you have a prepping closet, great. I love that. But people who aren't set up like that, they sometimes buy a lot thinking they're prepping, or they don't want to go back to Costco for a couple of months, so they'll store up, or they will collect a lot of like toilet paper or toiletries or things like that, but then they don't have the means to be able to sort it and store it, right? So if you are going to bulk shop, for whatever reason you're doing that, make sure that you go into that system with a system for storing and managing those things as well. I'm not completely against them, even though I don't do them myself, but have a plan and a system in place for storing and managing those items before you ever go buy them, right? Okay, have a plan. It also is emotional burden. Like, you go and you do emotional shopping and you buy things, but then you have buyer's remorse and it doesn't make you feel good in the long run, right? And now you have all of these things that you have to manage, and it just ends up creating even more baggage for you and emotional stress for you. It's also a distraction from what really needs to be addressed, right? If we do our retail therapy, it's only a Band-Aid to make us feel good in the moment, and we're not really addressing the underlying issue of what's going on. We're just getting that quick dopamine hit. We feel good. It's almost like a drug, y'all. It's like an addiction. It's like being an alcoholic. When you are addicted to acquiring things, you're getting that dopamine hit over and over and over. And I want you to treat yourself as if you are an addict of something else. Maybe you need to admit that you have a problem. Admit that to somebody else. Admit it to your coach. Admit it to your therapist. Admit it inside the accountability club if you need that. And then take the steps. Maybe you even look at the steps for going to AA and you work through that steps to break that habit, break that addiction of overspending so that you can feel secure in yourself, right? Okay, so now that we talked about that a little bit, we talked about why we overspend. We talked about the cost of overspending. Let's talk about some practical steps for breaking the habit of overspending. Okay. Well, first of all, I want to encourage you, if you are somebody who is prone to being influenced, I want you to first of all limit your exposure. Limit your exposure. Maybe you unfollow accounts that are known to be influencers. Maybe you love those people so much. They become your best friends, but you know that they influence you to buy things that you really don't need. Maybe you have to unfollow them. Maybe in return, you start following accounts that focus on minimalism and focus on decluttering and letting things go. I want you to limit your exposure to the things you don't want to be doing and increase your exposure to the things that you want to be doing. So the second tip that I have for you is to keep yourself busy from boredom spending. Keep yourself busy. When you are busy, think about this. When you are trying to eat less, if you keep yourself busy, you find that, wow, I haven't eaten. I completely worked through lunch and I didn't even realize it, right? So if you keep yourself busy, you more than likely will not overshop because you are keeping yourself busy. You don't have idle hands. A lot of you will end up probably keeping your houses a lot more cleaner, tidier, maybe getting a lot more projects done around your house. And I know, guys, your brain is not used to getting that satisfaction or that dopamine hit from completing those things. But the more and more that you do them, the more your brain will be satisfied that, and those dopamine triggers will go off for you. So keep yourself busy to prevent from boredom spending. Going back to increasing our exposure to things that we want to be doing, maybe you decide, hey, I want to become a minimalist. I'm not sure if I'm a complete minimalist, like I need a little bit of flexibility. Y'all, I am a mindful minimalist. I am very mindful, very thoughtful about what I keep in my home, and I don't let myself acquire things just randomly. I'm very mindful about what comes in because I know that it comes with a bunch of decisions. A decision to where I'm going to put it, a decision of how I'm going to manage it, and then a decision one day that I have to one day get rid of it. And so I don't really want all those decisions. So I'm very, very picky about what comes into my home. So maybe you decide, hey, I want to become a minimalist. And with that, your behavior will affirm your identity as a minimalist. A minimalist doesn't go out and acquire a bunch of stuff and come home with a bunch of bags. A minimalist doesn't place Amazon orders every other day. That's just not the behavior of a minimalist. If you start identifying as a minimalist and you start saying that, hey, I'm a minimalist, your behavior will affirm your identity. All right, number 4, I want you to schedule your grocery shopping trip. So like I said earlier, if you don't have a plan going into your grocery trip, you're going to end up getting a bunch of random things because you don't know what is at your house. So with that, if you're going to plan your grocery shopping trips, I want you to meal plan. Inside the Accountability Club each week, I do post an accountability post with my own meal plan, and I encourage everyone inside the club to post theirs as well. It's just to follow up and to keep them accountable with actually doing their meal plan. And a meal plan can be simple, y'all. It's as simple as writing down what you're going to have for dinner for 7 days. Whether you want to break it down and you look at your calendar and you're like, okay, how busy are we this week? What meals work better on which days? Or you just simply list out 7 meals and you go buy ingredients for those 7 meals. Whatever it takes, do a meal plan, and then it will give you your plan for your grocery shopping trip. Along those lines, number 5, if you struggle with going into the store and you find that you just do not have self-control, you're very impulsive, then send somebody else to go grocery shopping for you or to go buy the things that you need, or take an accountability buddy and say, hey, this is my list. Don't let me get anything off of my list. Now, if you have somebody who, if you send the list, they end up coming out with more than what you would have come out with, obviously, that is not the most responsible person to run your errands, right? So like, for instance, my husband, he will get exactly what's on my list and not sway from it. My daughter, who is 16, on the other hand, she will more than likely come out with something a little bit more fun. So choose a person wisely. All right, tip number 6 is to take the Amazon Prime app off your phone. We need to make it a little bit harder for ourselves to buy things, and Amazon makes it a little too easy. So just take the Amazon app off your phone. You can always re-download it later if you absolutely have to, if it's an emergency, but try to get into the habit of going to your computer to make your purchases. Or you can ask your husband, say, hey, we really need this. Can you order this off of Amazon Prime? And I really want you to think about, before you purchase anything offline, see if you can find it in person. See if you can go to the store, make a plan, go to the store. And if not, then that might be an opportunity for you to buy something off of Amazon. But what I want to encourage you to do is not make it so easy for yourself to buy and shop online. So remove the app from your phone and go onto your computer to make your Amazon purchases. Number 7 is learn to enjoy window shopping. Something that I like to do is I will go to a store and I will see a bunch of different things and I'm like, oh, I think I might want that. And I think I might want that. And it drives my daughter crazy. And I'll put a couple of different things in my cart and I'll walk around and I'll give myself like an hour to just browse. And I will end up walking out of that store with absolutely nothing. I really enjoyed the experience of doing that, but I don't need these items in my life because they're only going to create more burden for myself. So I want you to be really picky and stingy with your money, y'all. I want you to be like, no, I've got to love it. I got to know where I'm going to put it. I've got to know how it's going to impact my life. I've got to just absolutely love it before you lay down some money on it, okay? Because if not, what's going to happen is you're going to get these bags, say from TJ Maxx, Ross, wherever you like to shop. You're going to get them home and you're not even going to unpack them. And I find this with a lot of my clients is that when we're decluttering their closet, they end up having a lot of clothes with tags on them because they bought impulsively. They weren't dreaming about these items. They weren't letting themselves wait on these items and be patient. So I want you to be very stingy about what you do buy and learn to window shop instead. Create your wish list and go in there and say, okay, God, this is my wish list. This is what I've been dreaming about. Let's see if it's in this store today. And this works really great if you are a thrifter and you like that hunt. So make sure that you have either a mental wish list or maybe a wish list on your phone, and learn to window shop instead of having to buy or acquire a bunch of things. Number 8, coach yourself before you go into stores. So something that I have done in the past and I do every once in a while and that I encourage my clients to do is say, I am happy, I am whole, I am satisfied, and I have everything that I need. I am only going to walk out of the store with what is on my list. I am happy, I am whole, I am satisfied. I have everything that I need. So I want you to coach yourself through that saying, and so that it affirms you, that affirmation that you are happy. You are already happy just the way you are. And I promise you, things are not going to make you happier. Peace, calm, serenity, spending more time with your family, which means not managing more stuff in your house, all of those things add to your happiness, not acquiring more things. Number 9, because I don't want to be really harsh or really strict on y'all, give yourself a buy anything I want budget. Okay, and let it build up so that, you have this little nest egg of funds. And if you come across something that you really want, you've held back all this time from buying things, that you allow yourself to pull from that fund and buy anything that you want. Okay, so that's number 9. And the last one is number 10, which is my favorite. Declutter, declutter, declutter. The practice of decluttering your home, and maybe even decluttering somebody else's home. Maybe you have a friend, a mom, a sister. The practice of decluttering, I have always found to keep me and to keep my clients from acquiring more things, because they've gone through that painstaking process of touching items and making decisions, and it's really hard. And they're like, oh, no. I am not allowing myself to get back into this situation again. So the practice of decluttering over and over and over. And a couple weeks ago, I talked about going a level deeper. So even though you may have decluttered your home, I want to encourage you to keep decluttering. Go a level deeper. And maybe you are you don't even necessarily have to declutter, but maybe you need to refine your system. Just today, after I did my morning walk, I sat in my car and I refined my meal planning system. The day that I meal plan, the day I go grocery shopping. And now I'm going to do a bulk cooking day. So maybe instead of decluttering all the time, if maybe you don't feel inspired to declutter and you need to reorganize, or maybe refresh one of your systems that needs a little refining or a little fine tuning, then that is something you can do. I want you to make this a practice for yourself, to declutter, to organize, and to systemize. Now, if you need help with all of those things, decluttering, organizing, and systemizing, I offer one-on-one coaching, or you can hop inside the Accountability Club to do some group coaching with me. You can find both of those links below. I hope that this encouraged you to get your spending habits under control and to have, be patient, slow down, keep yourself busy, maintain your house a little bit better, right? And focus on some things like hobbies. Man, when you get busy in hobbies, they provide for that dopamine effect that we're so longing for and we're so craving all the time. So let's do some replacing of the spending hobby, and let's not let our overspending be a hobby anymore, and let's keep ourselves busy with wholesome, healthier things. All right, friends, if you need my assistance, you can click the link below to do one-on-one coaching with me or join the Accountability Club, and I will see you right here next time on the Habits and Home Show. Hey friend, before you go, I wanted to tell you more about the Accountability Club. Each month, we'll tackle a new space in our homes and work together to declutter and set up systems so we can easily maintain order without getting overwhelmed. You'll get a new decluttering tutorial each month, the coaching and accountability you need to actually follow through, and encouragement without judgment from other Christian moms in a safe environment. And guess what? The entire club is off of social media, so you don't have to worry about distractions the world may throw at you. Sweet friend, if you're feeling stuck in your decluttering journey, this is the place for you. Click the link below to try out the Accountability Club and start decluttering today.